Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, people? Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the market formerly known as Forex. No, I'm just kidding. It's been a tough go these last few weeks, and just hoping that today we can maybe find something. But there's a little bit of action last night with some report or something. Somebody said that the China deal was dead and the market just tanked. And then they said, "Oh no, 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 it's back on, or it's everything's fine." Then shot back up. So manipulation at its finest. What else would you expect? But real quick before we get going, as always, let me just bang this out just so we have it out here, and then we will see what we can find today. So the disclaimer is that trading any financial market requires a high level of risk. It may not be suitable for all investors. You should only trade with money you can afford to lose. Proper risk management is essential in trading all financial markets. If you do not have an understanding of proper risk management, it would be best to educate yourself before further beginning to trade. The content I provide is for entertainment and general information purposes only. Should not be interpreted as advice, investment, financial, or otherwise, because I am not a financial services provider. However, if you do choose to follow along with any of my trade positions, you do so at your own risk. Okay. Now that that is out of the way, let's see what is going on today in the market. How's everybody feeling? How you living? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Um, so I was running without my EMAs yesterday because I'm trying to get rid of them, and I wonder if maybe that was a little bit of a hindrance to me because while I keep them on, like I see through them. I don't necessarily use them as a hard fast rule, and I wonder if maybe I would have been a little bit better to see this full reset to the 800 on these pairs if I had them on. Now things weren't as great as I would have liked them to have been, but I think this GU position should have potentially offered some opportunity for us, and that clearly worked out. Um, Barely came back and retested these highs in this entry during that news. EU this wasn't the greatest because I wasn't sure, but clearly the full reset as always. So I'm going to clean up some of this chart a little bit just because it's a mess. And let's look at what we saw. So as we said, this was in an uptrend from all last week, and then it simply just corrected, and now you're getting, look, you're immediately almost back to the highs just in 2 days, and EU is just about max its ADR. Yeah, it's right at ADR. So I don't know. It's it seems to me like maybe it was a pretty clear move, and I just whiffed on it. But we move on. AU is shot out. AU's hit ADR. EA is not, so this gets a green one. This gets a green one. EA still hasn't moved out of this zone. It just smashed all the way up with that news. George, good morning. Max, what's going on, brother? Moogie, what's up? Traded AU long. Nice, nice. I think you're wise to do that. Here on EA, just smashed up real high with that news, came back in. Now it's trying to come lower. If all the other pairs are moving back into their trend, then I would anticipate that this potentially comes to the downside. But as you can see, it's just still just in this range, so it's kind of untradeable. GJ has not moved its ADR. There's still space in it, so there's still potential to get in this trade today, but we might have to CJ, what is going on? Good morning, brother. Good afternoon. How are you? Divergence here. It's making higher highs structurally, but it's making lower highs, the TDI. So we'll keep an eye on that. See if we can find anything. GU is not gone ADR quite yet, so there's still potential in this trade. It is divergent as well, failing to make a high, kind of bouncing off of this, coming back, but it's lower on a TDI. So we'll see what happens. On a daily, you can see you're in the uptrend, then you break down, consolidate, drive through, broke the level, but just came right back up. So maybe it's coming back up to this level to retest it on a 4 hour. You could see it just kind of broke, didn't quite get out, pinned down, came right back up. Again, consolidated, dropped through, consolidated, dropped through, barely, and now it's kind of moving back up. So maybe we're, as we had kind of said yesterday, maybe we're kind of stuck in this range between these two uh, areas of support and resistance. Definitely finding support here, pins, pins down, buyers in the market. So potentially more momentum to the upside to these highs back here. I'll have to keep an eye on it. But again, it is a little divergent, so let's see what happens. Dollar index just falling off. Fell so much yesterday, came back, and that's just fallen even more, which is why you're seeing all these other pairs move. GJ looks like could be a nice short on the fib. All right, I don't trade fibs, but I'll definitely keep that in mind. Gold long from the daily candle formation on the 19th. How's it working out for you? Right here. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I think it looks good, man. I think this is a good candle. Kind of like breaks out of this little range in here. Potential to the upside. I wouldn't want to sell it. 4 hour. Definitely see you're reaching these highs back here. And it's not, I don't think there's anything left really. Has it been this high yet? I don't think it has. No, you're like maybe back here from like 2011, right here, 1800. I mean, I've heard a lot of people calling for 1800, so I'm sure you wouldn't mind another 400 pips. See what happens, man. I think you're in a good position. So how's everybody making out today? Are we up? Are we down? Yeah, comp 400. Anybody get themselves in anything? Are they sitting on their hands? Are they up? Are they done for the day? How's everybody making out? This is just kind of a mess. I kind of see it like can't even really draw it right now. Really, it's not like clean. So it could just be you could see on a 4 hour how it kind of came back to the zone, and now you get like rejection, slowing. Maybe you do get that momentum back to the downside on GJ. Back into this trend. This would be like just a 4 hour back to like the 50. Flat, missed a few 7 a.m. UK time. It's all good. I missed a lot over these last 2-3 weeks. I haven't traded since like last Tuesday. I did take a tiny short on this yesterday. I think I lost like 0.4% because I was like, why am I shorting this thing? Like, so I just got right out of it. So like as soon as I got in, I got out of it. I think I just needed to click something because I haven't traded in it so long. So stupid, but I was feeling it yesterday. I was feeling the itch. So, but before that, I just haven't traded since Tuesday. So even yesterday, it's like, if anything, I should have just stayed with the long bias on it. Why short it? I think I took it in here. In fact, I know I did. It's like right after the session. It was like consolidating in here. I was trying to see if I could get it to like come back lower, and just obviously didn't because it's an uptrend. So stupid, but I didn't really lose anything. The gambler needed an itch. Had an itch to scratch. Um, yeah, man, I don't know. I really don't know what the deal is today. It's just been so choppy, and New York session has not really been firing off in direction. It's pretty much been, um, just corrections and stuff. The market's just been kind of ugly for the time that I'm trading, so it's making it a little bit difficult. Now here on the 4 hour, you can see you're consolidating and you're like starting to like push down as it has before, but I think you're in a pretty good position that if you can get down another, you know, maybe 20 pips and just show really strong bearish momentum, then you might see this thing finally break out. But for now, it's kind of just ranging. Oh, excuse me, I'm like choking on air. Yeah, so you can broke this downtrend structure, pushed up, consolidated, pinned back with that news last night, and then just shot off. So this is no longer valid. Retesting the high. Seems like you're clearing it. If it does clear it, then long term, you're looking for the next high up here at like 7,000, somewhere around there. You can see if you expand this. We had this drawn from like last week, came above it, sat right on it. Like this has been here since I don't even remember when I drew this, but it's just so funny how, once you find levels that are, seem to be of good, sensitivity, support and resistance. Everybody has a different name for it. It just comes right back, then throws a two candle right after the news. It was at 3 in the morning, and then got a reversal and got going. Broke these highs, come back and test the highs right here, like this. Sits right on it, like these were the highs where he found resistance, pushes down, pinned to it, pushes down, comes up, breaks it, comes down. This was the news. Sits on it, throws a three candle. And maybe this is the one that breaks out, but by that point it's already extended. While I'm in this bottom down here, at any of these points, I would be looking for longs just to continue with the trend. But I was asleep at 3 in the morning. Everybody hear me? We're all right? Check, 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 check. I had pulled it up uh, and canceled it just because I was coughing. I didn't want to cough in your guys' ears. I think the only potential move today for me is just EA and GJ, just because the other ones have, and GU too. GU hasn't gone through its ADR yet. There's still space on it. To the upside, it's got another 50. So GU is still in play. GJ is still in play. And EA is still in play, but EA's, see right here. I don't want to be early on this, but this 5-minute candle is actually looking kind of nice. And I know we're trying to break out, and if every other pair is moving in trend back into its trend, you might have a nice engulfing right here that might, it's like a 15 pip stop ish. It's really early still. It's only 8:45. But again, that's through. Hmm. 76. That's 16 pips. Let me take a quick look at this. I might consider a short. It's hard because it hasn't broken this thing. That's a pretty nice close, though. I'm going to take a short on it. My stop is going to be 162.76. I kind of like that formation. So it's actually 15 pips. I'm in at 61 and my stop is 76, so I need 30. So I really only needed to go to 162.31. I might be early and this might bot me because it hasn't cleared this zone, so I'm being a little bit aggressive. It's early. It's only 8:45 too, so this might have been a bad play. And I might just get ripped out of this immediately. But I'm trying to stay with this overall trend. Yeah, I might have just been a little bit aggressive on it. But we'll see. If it is, it is. Like I said yesterday, I'm if I see something that I feel has potential, I wanna take my shot. I feel like I'm seeing the market well, and I want to try and take my shots. It's definitely at a significant level, but I do feel like it has potential. You could, I mean, yeah, it's definitely at a, a key level of, like you could see, this hasn't been breaking through this. You know what I mean? Like you've been smashed here, but if it is going to break out, I'd like to see it come to the downside. As we said on the 4 hour, that this could be a breakout candle on the 4 hour. I'm right back. I'm flat now. I'm literally flat on the trade. So that's good. It came right back down. Um, if this closes in like 12 minutes like this, then that would be a really nice 4 hour candle. And then you potentially see more momentum to the downside. So I definitely jumped the gun early. I'm being a little bit aggressive. I like the pin, as you can see here. Like it pinned up and now it's like wicking right back down. There's still a minute and 20 seconds in this candle, but and I'm in profit. I just went into profit. But again, I like the momentum on this, kind of driving through. It was through on my TDI. If I'm going to take a shot, I'm going to take a shot. It's controlled risk. If I lose, I lose, Um, but I've been missing a lot of trades by being kind of like too conservative, and I don't want to be aggressive, but at the same time, I feel like I know what I'm looking at, and I think that that's worth 2%. And if I lose it, it's only 2%. It's no big deal. Um, we had been looking previously on previous weeks down here to the daily 800. I still feel like that is in play. Came down, now you're pushing. I only need 30 pips, but in all honesty, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm not gonna put a take profit in at this moment because if this is a breakout on like a 4 hour, if I am finally breaking this zone, then this thing's gonna is gonna fall, and I'm gonna try and see if I can't grab a little more out of it. But I'll monitor it as it hits 30. I got 26 pips to go until then, and I don't want to get away from my system. Yeah, I shorted EA. I shorted EA at 162.61 with a stop at 162.76. So a 30 pip stop. Oh, excuse me. That's a lot. A 15 pip stop is what I have on it. And I only need 30 for my system of 2R for 4%. Um, but like I said, if this closes on the 4 hour in 9.5 minutes here, like this, even if it closed here, that shows again, like we saw in a 5 minute, it's the same kind of theory. You're coming off of a level, you're breaking a level. You have to see. You still got 10 minutes, so anything can happen. Um, Down to 161 would be nice. Max says that down to 161. Yeah, that would be monstrous. I mean, but it's a 5 minute play, so anything can happen. But we do see that there's potential to the downside. Again, hasn't cleared this range yet, so I'm a little bit early and potentially aggressive. But I like what I'm seeing, so I'm gonna take my shot. Now, this pair can completely just evaporate. Well, ADR is right here at 30. So you know what? I'm gonna put my take profit in at 30, where it should be, because 162.30. Yeah, because that's actually where ADR is at 162.30, ironically, and it could drive through it. But I'm just gonna take my 4% on this. I thought there was a lot more space, so let me recorrect my statement. My stop is 15 pips. My take profit is 30 pips, which is right at ADR. I'm up pretty good chunk right now, like 11 pips. And we'll see if it holds in the next 8 minutes. It definitely looks good. I mean, each candle has been bearish, so you get the breakout, retests, and then pushes down more, pushes down more. It's falling through the trend line. You chickened out? Yeah, I mean, it could do anything. Like it could it could not come lower because again, it really hasn't broken this consolidation here. Um, but you know, I like the shot on it. Yeah, now it's like it's very, very volatile right now, like up and down. I'd like to see it hold 61. I'd like to see it hold my entry, kind of like on the 1 minute here. Like if you're looking at a downtrend, comes down, pulls back, breaks, pulls back, should use this level here as support or resistance in this case, and it should push down off of this. And if it doesn't, then keep an eye on it. But for now, I want to stay short on it. We'll see what happens. GJ looks like it's trying to come lower too. If AU is going to keep moving up, then you might see EA come down. But it could just chop. It's been choppy. But I'm not sitting in drawdown. I caught a breakout, and we'll see if it has the momentum to come lower. Again, it's controlled risk. If I lose, I lose. We'll see what happens when it presses back down towards like 46. We'll see if it drives through it or if it starts stalling. I think you should see it fall, in my opinion. But I'm not a master, and all I can do is let the market tell me what it's doing. But I got multiple confluences that kind of look like this thing's trying to come lower. See what happens. Said GJ was the only, and GU too. GU driving up. Retesting at highs. Yeah, like I said, it was an early position for me. It was only like 8:45 or something, but I was trying to see if I can catch a breakout real quick, Just catch like a quick like thump, like in and out, bang. Just caught momentum, grabbed it. Now you might see it consolidate here on a 5 minute on EA. It might do one of these where it kind of drops down, maybe gives a little sideways consolidation, and hopefully more to the downside. Hopefully this isn't the end of it with this like wick here. Hopefully it just comes back and fills it. Um, okay, it's aggressive just because we haven't broken out of this range yet, but everything seems like it's coming down. There's still almost 4 minutes in the candle. I don't know. I feel pretty confident on direction. It's gonna be what's gonna be. I do like this 4 hour candle too. Give it 3 minutes and see how it closes. I could be, um, it could come back and just bot me out and then move lower. I would hope that it holds. If it is making lower lows, then I would hope that it just holds here. I hope that it doesn't come above this area. Time will tell. Pretty much flat on it right now. Slightly negative. Now I'm like exactly flat. It's right at my entry. So it's good. I'm not really taking. I took an initial drawdown on it. And it's tricky because sometimes you see a pullback and sometimes you see it like just ignite off. So I didn't want to wait for a pullback and then potentially it run away. Um, I still think it. I think it still has potential to the downside. I think this might actually work out for me. This 4 hour looks really really strong. It's trying to clear this whole range. Mm, We'll see. It's still got to give it a minute and a half. Like I said, I'm just trying to grab it. Just a little impulse, just right down to ADR. Just a quick little pump. Hit my 4%. As always, if it does get close and I see it like stalling, then maybe I'll get out. But just gonna let it run. 154 for ADR on this thing. But it hasn't really moved a lot, so ADR could be diminished on this from what it usually is. 40 seconds left in the candle, 40 seconds left on the 4 hour candle, hour candle. We shall see. GJ looking like it's not breaking this low on the 1 minute here on this pullback. Getting a little bit divergent. Maybe you see that come up. So, he didn't break the zone here. He did technically get lower than these candle lows from the last couple days. It is a nice candle. You can see here on the TDI, it's clearly through this trend line. I would like to anticipate more momentum to the downside on this pair, but doesn't mean that it won't like pull back before that. I just hope that it has continuation here. Doesn't pull back, it just keeps falling. I'm slightly in profit, you know, 2-3 pips, which is nice. I'm not taking drawdown. And hopefully here on this 1 minute, you kind of see like a little breakout. But just, you know, we'll watch and wait. As far as the rest of the market, oops, let me get off of this. AU is just moving higher on the hour. Right here, kind of like broke up, pulled back, and just break and retest, break and retest. EU, same thing, up and out. GJ, kind of, it's divergent, came down, pinned, and now it's throwing like this kind of 2 candle. So maybe that comes a little bit lower. Maybe. It's in the uptrend. Like, it's choppy, actually, to be quite honest with you. It's definitely choppy. Could be finding support here. EA is just kind of holding. GU hit the high but hasn't quite made a new high yet. So I'll just sit on EA, see what happens. Yeah, I'm up 2 pips. My spread on EA is 2.5 pips. We're definitely stalling here. We're consolidating. My hope is that what we usually see happens where it kind of drops, consolidates, and then you get more continuation to the downside. But you know, this kind of wick right here definitely shows resistance. But everything looks like it's falling. It's definitely trending downward, so I'm feeling like I'm in the correct direction. My timing feels like this is a good. You can see how it's just sitting on my entry here on the upper right hand portion of my screen, this 5 minute chart. It's kind of just sitting on my entry, which I'm hoping it finds sellers to drive it lower. There's a nice close on the 4 hour. It's clearly through the trend line. It's in a selling position. It's still in this zone, so it doesn't have to fall. Just wait and see. Like I said, I'd like to see it not have to pull back and correct. I'd like to see it just continue. If it does correct, I would hope that it only comes back to maybe like 67 or then a little bit of drawdown now, like 5 pips. It is a little bit divergent here in a 5 minute. I kind of ignored that. I didn't see it right off the rip. You can see this is a lower low, but it's not lower here, which could show weakness. See how it handles here at this bottom. See what it does in here. If it holds this zone, good. If it breaks above it, then I'll probably have to get out of it because I'll be wrong. So I'd like to see it hold that zone and just make another push to the downside. My take profit is right here at 30. Right there's my take profit, right above ADR. Yeah, 4-hour candle definitely looks nice. It definitely was showing, that kind of what you like to see, like strength. It cleared it technically by body. You can see it cleared. It's still in some of the wicks, but the body cleared all. Now it might have to pull back into here, and then it comes lower, which I don't want to see. I kind of want to see it just run, cause but if it's continuing to make lower lows on a 5 minute, then it shouldn't break above my structure where I have my stop. And if it does, then I don't want to be in a trade anyway because it's not going to probably fall. It might start to make, higher highs and whatnot or higher lows. But yeah, you can see here on the 15-minute, this is kind of not the greatest sign. Doesn't mean that it's not gonna like come down and fill it, but you might see some type of correction. So maybe a little aggressive, but I feel confident. Took a took a good entry. I took it on the right direction. Controlled risk. That's all you can ask for. It's an opportunity, and I haven't traded in a while, and I wanted an opportunity. I feel like this was a pretty decent one, so we're gonna let it rip. GJ coming down a little bit. Let's see how it handles this here. If it kind of uses this first push as like a resistance and then comes higher, or if this thing is just falling off. Like we said, we did have divergence on it at the highs. It's kind of falling away. GU was failing to break the highs. AU's moving higher. It's really extended though. It's over its ADR. I'm taking some more drawdown on this trade. Again, if it puts a body above this zone, then I'll cut it. I won't take the full 2% loss. I'll cut it early. I'd like to see it hold here, hold this EMA, hold this level, and then continue off of it. I'm not down too much. I'm down like 5, 6 pips. So I'm like a third of the way at my stop. I like this level. As long as we can hold it, we're good. We're still in a selling, kind of sentiment. Still on a selling sentiment here. Clearly on a 4-hour, that was like a really strong candle. But again, you're still kind of in this range. But there's no reason that you couldn't come to try and test this structure low here at like 26, which would get me out of the trade at 30. So there's definitely still potential to see this come lower. But at the moment, it's kind of driving off. Here on the 1 minute, comes down, came back into this area. See how it holds the 50. See how it holds these lows. See if it's gonna drive back down to at least test this area like one more time and then potentially come lower. Still falling, but I don't know. We'll see. Gonna make me sweat for a little bit. Be nice to hit this and be done, but if I hit this, I probably would be done. I would probably just be like, all right, I'm out of here. Like, there's nothing else really that I'm gonna trade. I'm gonna stay on and watch. EA looks like it's coming right back down like I'm like right at my entry, like down 3 pips. That's a nice little bearish engulfing on this right here, but it didn't. From here, like kind of came up, came down, but didn't really clear this level. It's kind of ranging right now. Probability says this should fall. The question is, does it pull back and stop me out before it falls? I mean, it's through the trend line. It's still in a range though. So this is the biggest factor here. No matter what way you look at it, this is still the biggest factor. The fact that it's just chopping in this range, and is this position that I took going to be the one that the catalyst that drives it out? I feel like it could be. I really do. It's holding these lows nicely, getting some momentum on the 1 minute. We'll see how it closes in 30 seconds. I'm back into profit just a little bit. You know, it should probably come and at least test these lows here, because if it's going to come lower, then it should try and test this low. If it fails to, then it's made a higher low and it might move out. I'd like to see this candle break down through the trend line. Odds are it'll probably sit right on it. I do like that it's kind of clearing this whole range with this candle. So this could continue some more momentum to the downside, potentially. Yeah, see, it's like right on the. You know where it's gonna wind up. But I do structurally, I do like how that looks. Um, we'll see. We're like right at break even, just sitting, stalling. You like GJ to short? It definitely is getting momentum on GJ. I feel like at this point you would need like a retest maybe. Could see here what we were saying, like that kind of 3 candle on the was it the hour or the 2 candle on the hour right here we were saying, and then on the 30 minute you can see it's like a 3 candle, like kind of comes up, drops down, stalls, and now it's like pushing to the downside. Still just kind of chopping at my entry on EA. Yeah, I don't know, man. It might not. I don't know. Might not have it. I hope it does. I hope it's still just like consolidating, like I said, kind of like a breakdown, consolidate, and then hopefully another push. And I hope on that next push that's the one that takes me to my take profit. My entry looks like this. I'm in at 61. My 61 is my entry. My stop level is, and my take profit is, that's what it looks like. Now on my MetaTrader 4, it's a little different than here on this Owanda. I'm like a little bit above this candle here on my MetaTrader. Um, but that's what it looks like. I like that it's holding. It's holding these lows. You can see. I just want to see it continue down. I don't want to see it come above it. Said the direction is obviously short biased. You would presume it just might be taking its sweet time. Mm, I don't know about this. We'll see. We'll give it time. Still just kind of holding. 15-minute candle here was kind of like a pullback. Now maybe, hopefully, we can get some more downward momentum. We're still under the trend line on the 15-minute. It's good when you're under those indicators. That's definitely a, a, a good sign that you're still finding bearish momentum. We're right at break even. It's just sitting at my entry. EU just kind of chilling. AU's getting momentum to the upside, which would be nice because hopefully that AUD has some strength. Maybe it'll pull down my trade. Bless you, love. It's the truth. GJ, yeah, man, wow. Moogie said it. He was saying GJ to the downside, and there it is. Clearly, just couldn't break these highs, divergence, and just kind of fell off. We're in a little bit of profit on EA, a little bit. Like I could buy a sandwich. Let's see how this candle closes in 2 minutes here on a 5 minutes. This could be a really nice 2 candle. See what I mean? See how it kind of came up, kind of hit the entry, hit support, and then it'd be nice if it closes like this. Show some strength and continuation to the downside. But we got a minute and a half, so we'll see. Anything can happen with that candle. All right, you could buy a little more than a sandwich right now. News-wise, in 30 minutes, there's a little bit with dollar from Flash Manufacturing. It's a bit impact, but nothing too crazy. News was last night. It looked good. A lot of green numbers. I guess as the economies are kind of getting back from like Corona and COVID and all different parts of the world. Um, maybe numbers are getting better. People are out there spending. Yeah, this is kind of showing me some weakness. It's not the way I wanted this candle to close. See how it's like sitting here on the 1 minute? See how it's not breaking through? It's kind of just holding this. It hasn't broke above this structure yet, so I'm still staying optimistic on it. But it's just kind of fizzling right now, and it's not, it's stalling. It's having a hard time breaking down. This is not the greatest 5 minute candle I've ever seen in my life. Hmm. I'm trying to stay with it though. I'm trying to stay with the direction. I'm like down like 3 pips. It's right at my entry. Yeah. If this closes above, like if this shows strength and like breaks above this structure, then I'm gonna have to close it because I don't think that's a good sign that it's coming down. Yeah, it's starting to really drive away from me. I'm really not sure what to do. I don't know that I'm wrong yet. Like, yeah, maybe this is the one that kind of sets the tone. I don't want to close it just yet because it could just be like pinning. Yeah, GJ is just on the choo gone. That must be the yen because GU is just kind of chilling. That's got to be like the yen. Man, grabbed the wrong pair for a short maybe. This is still just consolidating at these lows. It's just very like choppy, that's all. AU is kind of falling off. I don't know that that's a direct correlation to this trade that I'm in. I just know that the AUDs are linked. But again, this is, AU is like a dollar versus like euro and AUD. I'm still in it. I'm right back. I'm down like 2 pips. So I'm right back at my entry. So I feel confident in this trade to the downside. Like I wouldn't want to buy it and I wouldn't want to get out of it because it's still just kind of holding these lows. And it hasn't really broken this structure in a significant way that I'm like concerned. Like I see it stalling, but it hasn't also broken to the upside where I'm like, oh yeah, this thing's getting out of here now. See what happens. We'll give it another minute on this 5 minute. I want to see how that candle closes. I'm definitely gonna, just continue to sit in it. I kind of maybe see it like maybe it's starting to do one of these types of things, you know? It's just having a hard time breaking through. Put a pin exactly to where it put a pin right after the breakout, like came right back to it, kind of like at 62.70. Just stalling, just down, consolidate. I hope the next move is down. That's how I would read it. Down, chop, down. I don't want to get too crazy on the 1 minute because it is just the 1 minute. We really like what we see here on the 4 hour. Would like to see continuations through the trend line. Probable. Just hope that it doesn't need to correct past our stop. GJ is right back into the box. Literally right back into it. From where it came down last night, from where it was yesterday. Right back into this zone. Just choppy. Came back up here. Divergent. Just rejected this. See? Came right back in. Now it's back down to here. Moogie, did you get in GJ? Were you able to take that one short? Yeah, nice. Great job, man. How you making out? Ten pips? Okay. Were you a little late on it? The hour close was like maybe like a if you're feeling short bias, like I don't know that I would have taken that, but it dropped like almost 60 in an hour, or like 27 minutes. And EA's just chopping. I'm not in crazy drawdown. I'm only like down like 3, 4 pips, but it just doesn't seem to be moving yet. I still like the direction. I still want to see it come down. Not just because I'm in it short, but because it just seems like what it's doing. It's just really stalling. It's holding this 50 on the 1 minute. EA looks about to black. I'm not sure what that means. I'm looking to 132 200 on GJ. Is that what you're saying? 132.20 down here, kind of back towards the lows. Can certainly do it. 132.43 roughly is ADR. Doesn't mean it has to stay within ADR, but that's where you're. Yeah, EA's kind of pulling up. Let's see what it looks like on the 30-minute. Just lightly, like it's just kind of like starting to break a little bit. Yeah, I think this might be beat. We'll see. It's not breaking this range yet. Like it keeps pushing up, but it's not breaking this yet. I'm down 9. I mean, certainly not what I want to see. Definitely looks like it's pulling up. Yeah, I'm about to get hit on this probably. Yeah, I'm out. Bummer. Well, that's a L, unfortunately. Just couldn't drive off of this right here. It just didn't drive down. What can you do? I mean, I try to stay with it. It hadn't broken the zone, so maybe I was a little bit early on it. Um, Whatever, man. Controlled risk. I'm here to trade. Now maybe GJ could have been better, but I didn't really see a selling opportunity on GJ. I saw the divergence, but it had been in an uptrend, so it's just a little choppy. Maybe this was like the down and then correcting up and then ADR. You could search for ADRs in like the indicators. I forget which one this one is. Yeah. Bummer. This market's just been not offering me anything. It really hasn't. And I think that's maybe because AU's kind of, yeah, you can see AU's falling off. And then EA inversely is kind of rising up. Maybe the divergence, maybe the divergence should have been a little bit more noted. You know, it's rising. Why is this a lower leg but it's higher here? Like I said, it was having trouble breaking on the 1 minute, breaking through that market sentiment right here. It just kept sitting as it was slowly rising and like correcting out. I was hoping that it was just going to hold the highs and break through, but it's not to be. Still hasn't broke above this zone, but based on where my stop was, stopped out. And it looks like it'll probably just continue up. You can see how like a trend line's holding. It happened quick too. Like it wasn't really a place where I could have read it. Maybe this one right here. This was the one that kind of like pushed up and out. And then that next candle kind of took me out. Whatever. That's why you control risk. Yeah, see, I don't see anywhere to really get short on this pair. If anything, I'd be looking for like maybe continuation back to the upside, like, but maybe I'm wrong. It's definitely divergent. Just funny, man. It's been a funny market these last couple of weeks. Just really hard to trade. At least for when I'm awake in New York. Like if you're in London, you're pretty sure you've been finding good moves, but this New York time frame hasn't been good at all. Yeah, it just didn't break the zone. It looked really promising. It doesn't mean that it's not promising. Like that doesn't mean that it's not going to come lower, but like I said, you could see it come back up and try and correct into this area. Kind of like break it, come back and see if there's still sellers in it, and then fall. Like it's still looks like it's trying to come lower, but it is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, spread. Maybe I could have took it at like 80. Gave me a little bit of extra space, but just like a kind of above that. Whatever. Might not just it just might not fall. Maybe it's still just choppy. We move on. It's not really much. I can't really trade GJ. Divergent here. This low is sitting on here. This candle, kind of, maybe this candle's the one. Kind of gets out of here. Stop at the bottom. Consolidates. Now you're getting more momentum back to the upside, but this could just be correction. See how like this 1 minute kind of like broke out. So maybe this is just like correction off this move. Try and pull back to like a significant level and find like resistance to keep moving down. It can't just fall forever, so it's got to fall and then like retest. What's up, CD? Good morning, brother. How are you? We got stopped on this EA position for 2%. Now it's just pissing me off. You could see like it didn't break. It came back to this high, but technically it like didn't break it. But because of spread and where my stop was up at like 76. So I got knocked out. I don't think I'm going to take it again because I don't know that I want to potentially lose 4% on a trade that's still kind of choppy. It's a little tricky. Man, I'm like tired. It's like like GJ retest a significant level maybe. Euro USD looking bullish. Yeah, Euro USD tapped out its ADR. So it's like maxed out for the day on its average. Now it could just go 100 pips higher, but we can't make that a trading plan. You have to just rely on the ADR and you have to say that it's gassed out and potentially might not move higher, so I can't take any positions on it. Same with AU. EA had plenty of space. It just had to pull back, and unfortunately pulled back too high, and I got bopped on it. GJ. See it drove down. And then maybe you could see it come back and like kind of test in this area as like a resistance and then come lower. Um, it's just it's too hard to read. It's like it's been up, it's been down, it's up, it's down, and volatile up and down. Like a lot of momentum. I just didn't see I didn't see a really good short for it. I guess I don't know. Like you could see the divergence and you could see how it's making like pins here and it kind of breaks down, makes a lower high here, and then kind of just does this little like up and down. This was right when I got on. And then this one here at 9 o'clock, how it kind of comes down sideways. This is the wick where it made the lower high on the 15-minute. And then this one right here, this kind of just igniting candle at 9 o'clock. And then you got the whole next 30 minutes it just dropped, just completely tanked. Over 2 to 1. But I don't know that I would have been able to like trade that and see that clearly. Like I acknowledged it. I think I forget where I acknowledged it at. I couldn't see it on the 15. I think I might have saw it on the 30. I did say on the hour there was like a 2 candle. Yeah. I said this kind of 2 candle right here, how it kind of comes down, consolidates, and then breaks down. That might have been something, but at that point I was already in EA, and I was really liking how this had closed right here on the 4 hour, and was hoping that we were going to carry momentum through and we weren't going to see it come back to like this structure low here, which clearly it's doing, and that's where I got stopped as it's hitting this structure low. So maybe I could have had a better stop, but at the same time I think that stop is valid, and if it's going, I don't want to make my stop higher, because if it's going higher then I'm probably incorrect, and I want to be out of it anyway. So just again, the issue was that it never really cleared this structure. It looked good, looks promising, but if I'm taking the 4 hour entry, then my stop is all the way up here at 163 like 10, or excuse me, 163 like 16, something like that, 163.18. And then, I'm trying to get 2R on like kind of like a swing, so to speak. Is what it is. Opinion on GU. It's divergent. It's failing to break the highs, but it's still trying to move higher. You can see it's having trouble making new highs. High, pins, lower high, pins, but it's still, the DXY is falling. So as the DXY continues to keep falling, you're going to see US, GU, EU, AU try and make moves higher. Now all these pairs have exhausted their ADR, and like we said, it doesn't mean that they can't keep pushing, but you can't necessarily trade that. GU still has a little bit of space on its ADR to 61, 61, 62, 60, something in that range is still viable for GU to come higher. It's trying to break these highs, but every time it gets up to this level, it just keeps finding resistance. Potentially a nice little candle here on a 5-minute, kind of trying to break through this TDI. See how it closes. It's getting some momentum. We said the daily on GU that you could see it try and come back up into this zone maybe. Like this would be like a higher low from here. So this is like the low, higher low, higher high, higher low question mark, and then to try and make a higher high over the next couple days and weeks. I don't know. Because now if you look at it like this, it's like made a high, but it was divergent, fell off, made a lower high, like lower low, lower high, lower low. So is this pull back, and on its pullback it makes a lower high, and then like it falls down? Is that what it's correcting to try and do? Make a lower high before more continuation to the downside? I don't know. Because again, DXY is just kind of falling off and potentially coming down to test these lows. So you would say GU to the upside. That is also the one reason why I don't like to trade as early as I did on EA. This is a good entry, and I, I'm not. I don't disagree with taking it. Again, though, 8:45 in the morning. I know that sometimes before you get to the stock market, that sometimes things can get funny. And that's kind of what it did. It just failed. Now you can see clearly. It's just moving off of it. I could definitely say that not trading is, I don't want to say getting to me, but I'm kind of just like, you know, feeling like I want to trade. I feel good that I'm not taking trash setups. I'm not just clicking anything. I haven't clicked in such a long time. This might have been one to just be like, you know what, like, yeah, it looks promising, but AU is gassed, and we know that AU and EA have the AUD, and AUD has been really strong, and maybe that's pulling the market on these two pairs. So if this is at its ADR, then maybe EA isn't going to quite move, and you can see it just rejected off of it. So maybe I could have done a little bit more analysis, but I liked it. I felt like, maybe I was just going to be able to squeeze it out. I got close. I got within 13 pips, so I got to 2%. I think I was up like $280, something like that. So I was like almost halfway to my take profit. But you could see it just completely ripped away, just completely moved off it. And then right in here, like I said, on the 5 minute, if it breaks above this zone, then you're probably smoked on it. And it did. It broke up, came down through another candle, kind of like up, and then out. So had I been slower, then maybe I would have been able to see it to the upside. But I didn't want to go counter on it because, but again, it didn't break the zone. Like, it just didn't. And then these wicks here too are very telling on the 15 minute, like, big wick. That was the push. And then at the 9 o'clock hour, it closed as like a doji. Now sometimes that just is indecision, but it tried to come down again, tried to come down again. I should have been a little bit more cognizant that I was failing. But it happened quick too. Like, I was like right back into profit and just wasn't breaking lows on the 1 minute in here. Like, this looked really promising, but again, it never got through, and it just kept failing, and it just held this level here. I was hoping I was going to get a push to at least retest this, and I should have seen that when I wasn't, that maybe it was failing. Now I think it was this candle right here. I was kind of like, I don't know, but then it quickly pushed back down, so it kept me in. It definitely kept me feeling like it was trying to move lower, but I think the big thing I missed was the divergence on the 15 minute. It just was divergent, and AU was stalling at its ADR, so a lot of things that could have led me to be better, but controlled risk. That's all you can do, is take controlled risk. Um, Thanks, Michael. Nice, you got an AU? Awesome, man. Great job, Michael. Very nice to hear. I'm glad to hear that you're in the right direction now. Yeah. Just didn't have it. Just didn't have it today. There was the pullback on GJ, as CD was saying, pulling back to a significant level. You can see it's in a breakout, comes back, and then just falling back to these lows. Because it can't just keep falling, so it has to kind of consolidate. But I don't even see like an entry. Maybe this little one here. I mean, if you want to take like it's like, I'm picking and choosing at this point. I'm not being, what I would have actually taken. I wouldn't have taken that 1 minute entry. I would have been looking for more like a double top confirmation, divergence, but it didn't. It just kind of came up and just fell right off. Tricky day, man. Sometimes it's like that. Couldn't break the Asia low on EA. Right down to it. And you can see here on the 5-minute, it looks like this. Kind of like came down and formed a channel, broke the channel, retested the channel, just like we said with the horizontal. So you had it horizontally and diagonally, where it just kind of broke up, came back into it, and then found in the next 5 minutes more momentum back to the upside. That's just like reversal, and then it's up and out. We'll see if it comes back down. Because I feel that we do still believe that this is kind of in a downtrend, but you could see here it kind of hit the bottom of this candle on the daily. Like it made this huge candle on the 11th, and then it's just been chopping its way back down towards this bottom of it. But every time it hits the bottom of this candle, it's just not getting there. But I still like it to the downside. And I still want to see it come and test these lows. That makes sense to me. This is in selling sentiment. Like, this has been falling. I don't know. 10 o'clock hour is upon us in a minute. GU is just kind of chopping around. It's trying to get higher. Maybe here in this 5 minute, can see how it kind of bottomed down to the 50. See if you can get some momentum. Because it still has room on ADR. ADR is all the way up there. But it might just be fizzling. EU from yesterday, just a monster. Just bottomed out. Coming back to these highs. Just correction. Like we said, it pulled up, and then you can't run all that time without a little bit of like choppiness and correction, and it just found momentum back to the upside. Here comes GU trying to make this formation, as I'm saying, kind of like a double bottom holding support on the 50. Its sentiment is long. See how that shapes out. On the hour, kind of finding support potentially. Divergence here on the 1 minute. Here comes, looks like a breakout on the 1 minute potentially here. You can see you have divergence. Comes up, comes down, 2 candle engulfing right here. Maybe stop at the bottom of the structure. I don't know, because it is just in this chop right here. Now, granted, it looks like it wants to come higher, but it's having trouble, so I don't know. I don't know if I want to take a second position today, because this day's kind of not clear and obvious. but it looks like it's trying to come higher. It's still got space on ADR to do it too. GJ finding divergence on its 1 minute, double bottoming. This is a lower bottom, but it's higher. Hasn't created an uptrend structure yet, so this is still falling. Divergence on the 5 minute as well. Still falling. EA back to its 50. I wonder what's going to happen there. If it's going to like kind of fall off of this 50. If it's going to use it as like resistance. You can see it's kind of throwing some pins at the moment. I mean, this candle just started. Dollar news is kind of like indifferent. A little better, a little worse. Here it comes. You're looking at like a tight stop if you were to take this position. If it was to push up real strong and break this liquid 50, then I don't know. It's like a good signal because it's still trying to come higher. It's finding support. I know there is divergence on the 15 minute. I don't want to trade into the divergence. And I already took a 2% loss today, so it's like I don't want to take. I hate when I lose 4% in a day. That just makes like one winner is fine. It makes it right back, but that just makes it frustrating on me mentally. Like, oh. I don't think it's. You can see. I think you guys see what I'm looking at though. Like it's kind of come up. It's finding support to move higher, but it's divergent on every time frame. Especially here, you could just see it like it's falling. Doesn't mean it can't come and like retest these highs and move higher and still maintain its divergence. That's not a great close on the 5 minute. It's like right at it. And then maybe that's the one that runs. But if this was strong, like all the way up here, close like up here, then I'd have been like, I got to take that. That's momentum. But this is too. I can't take something like that. If that runs, it runs. It's no big deal. That's not my candle. The candle I'd take was, this one like this on like EA. Like it was strong, showing potential. It's through, And maybe this comes down off of here on this 1 minute. Up here at the 50. Failing to make a higher high right here. I'll keep an eye on this and see if I can't get it to come back down to where it was. Because I'm still short biased on it. Just happened to get bopped out here. There's no reason it couldn't hold and then, come back down. GJ is kind of bottoming out for the moment. It's finding divergence on the 1 minute here and the 5 minute. You're in a significant level right here. Doesn't mean that's not going to keep falling. Just means that like for right now you're going to get like some type of correction, pullback, something of that nature. And then maybe AU comes back and like finds support and just comes back to test the high. This thing's gas though. EU, or excuse me, GU. This is what I had said on the 1 minute here, this candle. Just see how that's like real strong? And it kind of just chopped and now it's pushing. I didn't want to take a 1 minute entry, but that's a nice candle. Like you can see how that's potential. Entry up here, stop below the structure. If it's going up, what it's going to do is come back and retest this top here. Not this top, not this, you know what I mean? It's going to retest this area. It's getting momentum up and out. The 5 minute candle was weak. I didn't like it, but you could see how it was finding support. And that's why sometimes indicators can be subjective because it may not have crossed through and given you what you're looking for. But, you know, if you like that formation, which I didn't, so it wasn't so much the indicator. I really didn't like that. I like to see the candle engulf it. But you could see how it came up, came down, found support, and now it's trying to retest this high. And maybe it only gets as high as that high. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it rips through. Maybe it creates higher highs while still maintaining its divergence. It's tricky. Today's just a funny day. Just a really funny day. Let's see what's happening over here on EA. Failing to make a new high. Broke up. So this is still in a selling sentiment, you know. Pins here on the 15 minute. Kind of back at the 50, just kind of stalling here. Still got 5 minutes. Anything can happen, but you can see like it's kind of hitting this bottom of this structure here. Kind of like this, you know. It's kind of hitting there, which this was like the consolidation. And then like it broke down, broke out of the consolidation, came lower, now it's coming back to it. Does it potentially then come lower again? Not sure. Right now you're having trouble on the 1 minute though, at the 50. That's a nice candle on GU on a 5 minute. See how this is kind of like, this quite didn't do it, but now you get this really strong candle. Kind of cleared this. You might see it like, I mean, that looks nice to me. I mean, it's just hard to know if the divergence is going to hold it, if it's going to just move higher, but not get, you know, divergence is funny. It's a funny thing. That's a nice candle, though, in my opinion, on a 5 minute. That's a nice, strong push. I want to see what happens here on EA. I want to see what happens as this tries to come back up to the high. So if this kind of comes up and fails and then throws another like 2 or 3 candle, and I might try and take another short on it. See if I can get it to move back down as we were trying to do before. But I have to be mindful that it's not just like a break above, retest back as a level of support, and then continuation to the upside. Still in the selling sentiment, but it could do that. Like when you look at the 5-minute, could it be like it breaks up, comes down back into this zone, and then pushes higher? I don't want to say it's moving higher because it's clearly overall daily, trying to come lower. It's failing at the moment to break a new high, consolidate, double top, falls, comes back, fails, and now it's another 2 candle is my stop here at like 88. AU is, like we said, like I said on AU, does it come back down, find, buyers and come and retest this high? Clearly, it's doing that. Dollar index clearly just in a free fall. Like this thing's not stopping. This is one of those days where you don't call a bottom on a pair that looks like this. You're like, oh, it's divergent, this and that. Like, you know, every time you try and catch a falling knife on pairs like this, they just keep dropping further and further and further and further. And that's why GU makes sense. Fuck. Look at that. Jesus. Off that 1-minute candle at 10:01. Damn it. Sometimes it just sneaks right by you. And you see it, but you don't take it. This, I'm not sure what to make of. It's kind of back into this zone right here where it bounced out of. So it could just be finding support here to come back up. It's tricky, 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 tricky. It's nice. New high day on GU. Like I said, we said it has the ADR to go. That's probably a miss. This might not have been the candle, but maybe this one. You take like a 15 pip stop. You're up like, like 8-ish or so. You're looking for 30. Breaking new highs on the 15-minute. We had that really clear and obvious candle on the 1-minute here, which showed like failing off the divergence. You could see the divergence. This is a higher low technically. Failed to break the lows. Comes up, settles, breaks out to the upside, consolidates, continuation. This is the typical structure that I see, and that's what I was hoping to see on EA, like a break, a consolidation, and then continuation to the downside on EA. But here on GU, you get it to the upside off of this candle, and your stop is under the structure. Because if it does come back, like we said, it was only going to come back and probably test the high here. So a stop under here is clean, but it didn't. It just moved up and out. So whatever. You see it, and sometimes you still miss it. It's like I sometimes I leave the obvious and I trade the hard. Yeah, really nice, really clean. Anybody grab GU? Even if you put your stop under here at like 20 pips, you're still at 25. If you put it here at like 10-ish, you clearly hit your 2R and it's running. It's not about the candle entry. I keep trying to tell myself this. It's about the stop. So like even though this, this I'm like, yeah, this is a good candle. Okay, well where's the stop? The stop is down here then. Like if I didn't like this one because I'm being subjective on this and, this wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. Like it wasn't, I wanted it to kind of be above this, like an engulfing. But then you get it again and you're like, okay, well there it is. You're not late on it. You just need to make sure you have a correct stop. And now it makes it harder potentially to get where you're trying to go. But if you're in the right direction, then potentially it's worth the risk. So that's a whiff. Yeah, these things are just blowing their ADR on EU and AU. Dollar index is just gone. And I feel potentially EA might be finding like support here. Break a high, come back down, retest a level, continuation to the upside. I don't want to go against the trend, but that's just kind of what it looks like to me. But if it comes back up here, at the 50, and it does it again, it fails, and it makes like a, fails to make another high, then that's not very promising for bullish momentum. See how AU is hitting its highs again? Here it was overbought. Here it's like all the way down here. But as long as the dollar index keeps just falling, then you can't call a top. You can't, ADR be damned. You can't call it a top on it. Yeah, it's a miss on my part. And of course, it's because I took that EA and I had already taken a loss, so I didn't want to jump back into something. But this is probably what I should have been waiting for today. Right here, something like this. This is an easy read for me. 12 pips, call it. You hit your 2R right there. That makes sense. Breakout, consolidate, continuation. Has the space on ADR. It is, it's long biased as the dollar index has fallen. That's a sensible trade. EA was probably not what I should have taken today, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. Double top in here on GJ. Coming back to this area here on the 1 minute. Kind of pulled back, fell off, pulled back again. Are we going to find more momentum to the downside on GJ? Is divergent. Hasn't really broke though. Like broke up and then like retest. So you could see it try and come back down potentially. To the lows. Right, yeah, I see that. You can see how it's holding structure. Yeah, it's a little, I think it's a little dicey because it could hold here, but because it is a little bit divergent. But that doesn't mean it can't keep falling. It's not divergent on the 15-minute, and that divergence just brought it up higher. Doesn't mean that's completely going the other way. I think you'd like to see it get through the trend line. So this trend line's rising on the 5-minute. So you see this trend line rising. You could see price come down and hit it and hold it and just like bounce off it. So I think the best one we saw was this GU. And if that was probably the best one. EA looks like it's making a lower high here. Came down, made a low. Now it's making a lower high potentially. Kind of with this 3 candle stop up here. Let's see. It's doing on the 5-minute here. See, I don't know that yet because it could still come back up and test the top of this structure because it's using this potentially as support. You can see the pins to it on a 5-minute, like it's trying to come down. Comes down, pins, so it could be break, retest, and then continuation to the upside. I don't know. And that's why it's funny because this certainly could come lower because it overall in a downtrend, but it's just choppy. And again, as AU starts potentially stalling, you might see then EA continue rising up. But I don't know. It's dollar indexes just it's like I said. This is when you see a pair like this. I don't ever want to say it's stopping. I don't ever want to say it's stopping. I've lost way too much money trying to say that this thing is stopping. When something's falling like this, you just get out of the way. If you're not on the train, get out the way. Yeah, don't know. A little bit confused. I definitely feel like I had a probable opportunity on GU and I kind of let it go because I already took it out today and I was a little bit, kind of mentally. I just don't like taking 4% losses in a single day. Just, but again, this was more probable, clear and obvious. You saw what the dollar index was doing. You do see the divergence, sure, but you know that this pair has space on ADR. You know that it's trying to move higher, and you just need, the best opportunity you can get. And I think that this 1 minute candle at 10:01 was probably the best opportunity we had. I think it was better than this one here. Definitely better than this one, because you would already been in it, You'd have been in it for 4 minutes. So you would have caught this candle. You would have caught all these candles. And you've basically bottoms out, comes up, finds support. You see it's not breaking and making lows. You can see right here, it's not making lows. Comes up, makes it high, comes up, makes a lower high. It's not going lower. And then it finds right here, breakout, this candle. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's the cleanest. This thing's trying to come up. And I'm sure it's because AU's slightly fallen off this top. It's just exhausted. It's past its ADR. It's been ripping. Break above, pull back, support, potential to the upside to continue. It could just chop. I mean, I wouldn't want to take it to the upside because as we said, we're definitely feeling like we're short biased. But and that 4 hour candle is still in effect. Like I said, your stop would be all the way up here, like 63.20. So you're still in this trade. You're in drawdown, obviously, but you're still in this trade. Just a choppy pair. Less. I'm gonna see it pull back to a nice level. GJ, is that what we're talking about? GJ's failing to make a higher high here. Or GU, excuse me. GU failing to make a higher high here at the moment. See if it pulls back and kind of like finds support in this area. You might see this move up. See how you're kind of like holding structure. This is starting to like move up a little bit. See what happens here. It's still in a selling sentiment though, and it's still falling. Like, I don't know why. I don't think you'd want to buy it, but I think you want to see it break down. I'd like to see it come back and try and test these lows. That would make sense. Break down, pull back up, and then push back down again. ADR on this thing is like 40 pips from where we are currently. But I'm just having a hard time reading it. You want to short it? GU still moving up. Everything's kind of slowing down right now. Still stuck in this range right here on GJ. Obviously, you're in a selling sentiment. I think you'd want to stay. It is diverging here between these two bottoms, but you're still in a selling sentiment. Bigger picture. Could just be break and retest, and then more continuation. I don't know. I really don't know. It's really hard for me to like. I'm having a hard time reading this today. 4 hours still in a selling position. You're still on the downside of it. You know, it's still falling. So I guess you'd want to try and stay with the sellers if you can, but you're not really seeing like any type of pattern that gives you that type of confidence. I don't just want to like put it in anywhere. I don't just want to say, yeah, I'm gonna put it in here. I'm just gonna put it above this high. I think it's gonna come lower. Like, what if it doesn't? And it looks like it's finding support on the 1 minute. I know it's a 1 minute, but you can see how it kind of broke above. Now you're just finding support. So you want to see this break. You know what I mean? Like it's just like this, chop, 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 chop. So until you get like a clear break and retest. Five minutes like sitting on it, like one candle down to here. And you might see it would come through and look like it wants to keep falling then. Right now it's just sitting on it. But again, the bias is short. I don't know that I necessarily like this formation here yet. Now maybe if it was deeper into it through these, this indicator. It gives me confirmation of momentum, of potential continuation. That's how I try to use my indicator. I want to stay short on EA, but it's just not. It's too indecisive. What another funky day in the market. GJ kind of breaking out of this structure. See if it holds and throws like another formation, so we just come right back into it. Yeah, it's looking like it's trying to come down. It's trying. Pin back to it. This one is like sitting on it on the 5 minute, like it's right on it. It's like 50-50. Like I said, if it comes back and holds this structure and then pulls like another formation off of it, then maybe you see it come lower, try and test these lows, but it's too hard for me to read right now. Now maybe you guys are seeing it better. It's just too hard for me to read. Dollar index still coming down. Means GU still going to push up probably. AU, EU. This is still trying to come lower. Like I said, I don't call bottoms on pairs like this when they're, or anything that's falling like this. I don't ever try and be like, oh, here's the bottom. You just always, always, always get smoked. I know, CJ, it's really choppy today. It's just been like this for like the last 2 weeks, at least in the New York session. Like the first little bit before I started streaming, and then when I started streaming, like New York was like fire, man. It was like, phew. And then just the last 2 weeks, I'm trying to stay patient, trying not to lose. I took that small loss today. That's all right. That's like whatever. It's no big deal. But like, I think I've been really good at staying out, but it's eating at me, man, because I love to trade and I'm trying to make money. But if it's not there, it's not there. And I don't want to go just punching at the market because you try and you know hit the market with like a left hook and this thing just uppercuts you and puts you on your ass. This market is not to be pushed around. You got to be gentle with it. You got to try and just ride the train with it, but it's it's not giving me a schedule. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm probably gonna call it, get my eyes off of this thing before I wind up putting myself into something stupid. Felt like this was good opportunity on EA. I'm gonna I'm gonna stay with that and say that that was a good idea for me. I liked what it was doing. It was breaking the lows. I felt like there was potential to see continuation, but it didn't happen. GU might have been a better move on the 1 minute had I not taken that EA trade. And you could see that it, kind of failed here and it came up. It made a high and then came back here and in this, because I wasn't awake during all this. But then right here, you could see how it kind of just failed to make new lows with the divergence here, clearly divergent. Breaks up, comes down, retests this area to come lower, but it couldn't. Shoves back up, and then you're looking for a breakout. And then this was the breakout right here, as I keep saying. So that was probably the best move I could have made. 10 o'clock, 10:01 technically. But having already lost that EA trade, I was a little bit reserved, and I didn't take it. So that's how it is. Didn't really like this one on the 5 minute, although it did work out. Sometimes it's like that. So that's it. That's kind of where I'm at. And this is holding this level here clearly on EA, but I don't want to buy it. I don't think that's the move either, just because it does look like a break and retest and holding. And now you're probably going to get a breakout in 21 seconds on the 5 minute here. Like you're probably going to see it, and this will be like an igniting candle potentially to move higher. I don't want to trade it like that. Um, but that looks like what it is. Fails to make the low, it's divergent. It comes up and makes a high. It comes down here, consolidates, and it's holding this area where it initially moved off of as support, throws this two candle. You potentially see it come higher. But I don't. It's still in a downtrend, I guess, overall. But maybe it's not. I don't know, man. I'm so confused. And when I'm confused, I just try not to trade it. It's not clear enough for me. Because then you go to the 15 minute and you're like, oh, well, it just, now it looks like it's kind of, pulling back to maybe come lower. I don't want to buy it. I definitely don't want to buy it. I wanted to sell it, which is why I was shorting it. So now maybe this is like failed to make the high here. Like makes a high, fails to make a high, comes back, fails to make a high. And now is it going to finally break through? I don't know. I just. Or is this 5 minute candle the breakout of this consolidation? You see, it comes in, consolidates, breaks out. Stop is at the bottom of the structure because it's already shown this structure to be a good level, and now you're going to move off of it. I don't know. I don't know. It's too uncertain for me. I can't call it cleanly. But as AU finds it's falling off, then you're going to see EA probably move higher. And AU looks like it's having a hard time. More pins to this area. It's divergent, failing to technically break the high. It's dead even with the high. Same here, divergent under the market sentiment. But the dollar index could just go sideways, could just chop, 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 and fizzle out all day sideways, which would make potentially EA fizzle out sideways as well. I think that's what might happen. So on that note, I'm getting out of here. I'm taking my loss today and going back on with my life. Lost 2%. Controlled risk, nothing crazy. It's unfortunate. Yeah, I lost it, George. Only thing that would interest me a bit more is pullback on EA, the momentum candle down. Yeah, I'd still like to see it come to the downside, but right now it doesn't look probable. I feel like I took the best shot I could on EA to move lower. It just wasn't ready. So, you know, control risk, proper rationale. Like I said, if you do see AU start to pull down a little bit, then you might see EA come up. But I think what you might see is just consolidation. It might just, but who knows? It's so early in the day still. Just because my day is coming to an end doesn't mean that the market's done. It could still rip off, and I'm like, oh look, it was at like 11:30, and it made the move I was looking for. But I don't know. I don't like sitting on this long, and I just kind of like to keep my session short and sweet and move on with my day. I gotta shave my dog down. She's got way too much hair. Little floof. Where is she? Come here, pup. See if she comes through. Um, yeah, just indecision. That's it. Hope you guys had a great day. I hope you understood what I was going through with EA and then the GU read. Just keep trying to find clear and obvious structures, but it hasn't really been clear and obvious. So it is what it is. Try again tomorrow. Be back same time, same place, 8:30 in the morning. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Don't give anything back. Um, just stay disciplined. Stay to your trading system. And that's it. Thank you for being on as always, and I will catch you guys on the flip. Have yourselves a great day. Peace.